In an American courtroom, a scene unfolded. A murderer, because he was a minor and had been forgiven by the victim's family, was likely to be released immediately. Yet he was smirking throughout the proceedings and even openly taunted the victim's mother.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
What would the judge decide? Let's start this painful story from October 2016. At that time, 18-year-old Jordan Crew was found shot in the head. His death shocked the entire community because Jordan had always been a good kid in the neighborhood. He excelled academically and was a star player on the football team. He had received acceptance letters from several top football schools and was likely to become a future NFL star from their community. But everything came to a halt on the afternoon of October 4th. Jordan was walking home when 3 neighborhood thugs surrounded him. They demanded that Jordan hand over his sneakers. Of course, Jordan refused, and a scuffle quickly ensued. At that moment, one of the thugs, named Danta, pulled out a gun and shot Jordan in the head, killing him instantly. The 3 then took Jordan's sneakers and other sports equipment he had on him. The case wasn't complicated, and the police soon arrested the 3 thugs. 2 of them were adults and were undoubtedly charged with murder. The real trouble was Danta, the minor. Although he was the one who fired the shot, according to American law, there had to be a pre-trial hearing to determine his charges. Generally, if the offender is a minor, apologizes sincerely during the hearing, and is forgiven by the victim's family, they might not be prosecuted. At the hearing, Danta obviously understood this loophole in the law, which is why he acted so arrogantly. On the day of the hearing, July 2017, 9 months had passed since Jordan's death. Jordan's family was still engulfed in sorrow, tears streaming down their faces throughout the proceedings. Danta, on the other hand, was relaxed, rubbing his hands and looking bored, as if he was ready to go home. While others spoke, he looked around, chin raised, as if the accusations had nothing to do with him. When it was the victim's mother's turn to speak, she sobbed uncontrollably, unable to speak about her son's death even after 9 months. A relative had to read her statement for her. The statement said, "Jordan's life was frozen on that day. Jordan will never love again, will never start his own family, will never have a future. I lost my only son, my baby, my friend. I have forever lost the ability to smile and love. I can no longer listen to the songs we used to listen to together. I can no longer watch the movies we used to watch together. Night after night, I wake up from nightmares, dreaming of Jordan's painful screams. It's too much to bear." We could see the mother's grief and pain in the courtroom, but Danta continued to smile crookedly. Then the mother's statement continued, "I want you to feel cold every time you put on a jacket. I want holes to appear in your shoes every time you wear them. I want you to feel hungry right after eating. I want you to lie awake every night. I want your mother to never come when you need her. But most importantly, unlike you, we hope these curses do not come true. Instead, we want you to reflect seriously in prison and become a better person in the future." It turned out that this kind mother had chosen to forgive. Just as Danta had anticipated, when it was his turn to speak, he smirked and casually said, "I just want to tell you, I'm going home soon. I love my family."
Yes, sir. Mr. Wright, what would you like to say?
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
At that moment, the judge lost his temper.
You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile, laugh, and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial, and if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
At that point, Danta's expression changed. He stopped nodding, and his smirk vanished. His eyes became blank. His lawyer quickly explained, "Danta meant no harm. He did not disrespect anyone. He truly understands the seriousness of this and is very scared. Some people smile when they are afraid." Danta's mother, in a panic, added, "My son naturally smiles a lot, and he seems to have some mental illness. He has been to the hospital before." But when asked for medical records, she could not provide any. In the end, Danta was convicted of murder and armed robbery and sentenced to 25 to 52 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for at least 25 years, potentially serving up to 52 years. The other two criminals were also sentenced to 40 years, with no parole for at least 15 years.
And hope that every time you want for a bed, you have a sleepless night. I hope that every time you wish for your mother, she doesn't come for a visit. But more than anything, because we, and I, am nothing like you, I don't wish or hope any of that upon you.
You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial, and if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
This is the true story we wanted to share today. When I first heard it, I was deeply shocked. Perhaps this shock comes from the innate sense of justice within us all, believing that good and evil must be repaid.